When I come prepared with the outlet, the computer holds its charge. When I don't bring the plug in, the computer goes, I've had enough. Interesting how this life works. I say welcome to the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. We're delighted that you have joined us wherever you are, whether you're here in person in our center, whether you're a part of our Zoom family, and if you're joining us on Facebook on our YouTube channel. If you're viewing on Facebook or YouTube, we invite you to drop a note in the comments to let us know where you're viewing from. We like to get an idea of how this message is spreading out to our larger community. Our theme for the month of August is My Passion and My Purpose. Ernest Holmes offers this: we are a spontaneous choosing center in life. In the great drama of being, the great joy of becoming, and the certainty of external expansion. And this is from This Thing Called You. And I think that sums up very nicely where we are and where we fit into the larger scheme of things. We are a self-choosing center of life. This past week, I had an opportunity to reconnect with colleagues and also make new friends at our SOAR convention, which was held at Asilomar. And I think it had been 10 or more years since we had actually been back to the Asilomar Center for our summer conference. So it was really a beautiful gathering, a beautiful time of sharing. And the theme for the retreat this year was retreat, renew, reconnect, and reemerge. And I'll be interspersing some of that within my talk this morning, and you'll hear more in the weeks to come as we just expand on how this all connects with our passion, how it connects with living our life. Some of the highlights for me from some of our speakers was a reminder that we are still emerging from COVID. And things are not the way they were. Where some of the elders say, things are not the way they used to be. It's just not going to happen. And yet we find ourselves in this period of messiness or the liquefaction, as the speaker used, trying to decide, okay, what really is calling me forward? What is my passion? What is percolating within me to be all that I can be, to be and do, to be a healing presence in this world that I have chosen to be in at this point in time? And then I was very inspired by our 17-year-old youth leader who spoke at the conference. And what stood out for me was she shared with us that being told that you're great, coming up with this idea and having this implanted into her consciousness, into her psyche, that at some point she felt that she was different from those around her. And that difference had an impact on her self-esteem. And she found herself going back in rather than being continued to be outgoing. And so that resonated with me because I would ask this morning, being told that you're great, being told that you're good, being told that you're special, being told that you are the light, how has this shown up in your life? How has this shown up in your interrelationships with family, with friends? Have you ever felt at some point that this knowingness of who you are, who we are, took us off point, and maybe we became discouraged, or we felt that we were different, and we wanted to fit in, and yet we knew that we didn't fit in with the outer norm? So I just ask you to think about that. And then the other main takeaway for me was the invitation to look at what is coming towards us, not looking away. You know, we have a tendency to turn away from that which we would describe as less than spiritual, or not positive, or not something that is going to elevate us and keep a smile on our face. The invitation is to look at that which is coming towards us, to not turn away, and to see through it. So we're looking at whatever the experience is, and we're seeing directly through that to the spiritual principles that are being called forward. And so I'll offer an example. Some of you may have seen this. It was a big thing in the press. Still is somewhat a big thing in the press until the next piece of mass distraction comes along to take us off point. But there was an incident that occurred in Montgomery, Alabama, and I'm not going to go into the full-blown detail. If you haven't heard about it or seen it on, the video has gone viral in all markets. But a brawl erupted when a group of white revelers attacked a black riverboat co-captain who had asked them to move their illegally parked boat. And so we can go to that place of race. And we also know that race is a social construct. It does not have a spiritual purpose or a spiritual meaning. But we can go there because of the tradition in the South and what is happening across the country with the tension that is taking place. But I asked myself, as I looked through this, what are the spiritual principles that apply from my perspective as I'm looking at this? And so what came forward for me was that we are surrounded by impersonal spiritual laws. And our conscious use of the law creates the conditions that we choose to be a part of. So it is our conscious use of the law that we get to create the conditions that we choose to have. The other spiritual principle that came forward for me was love. And this is a cry for love. This experience is a cry for love as I see it, to remove the stumbling blocks of fear, to let our egos get out of the way, and to discover that the love of God is for everyone. Everyone. No one is excluded from the love of God, regardless of what label we may choose to identify with at some point in time. Nothing separates us from the love of God. And finally, what came through for me out of this experience was that we are spiritual beings, that we live in a spiritual universe, and we're having a human experience, and yet nothing separates us from our true spiritual nature. And so those are some of the takeaways for me from our conference at Asilomar. Today's title is Percolating Your Passion with Purpose. And I asked the question, what are you giving your attention to? When I saw the word percolating, it took me back to childhood, some childhood memories. And as I look around the room, I know none of you have had that experience. You may have heard about it from your grandmother or your aunties or your cousins. But I remember the percolator coffee pots that were a staple in the kitchen. No matter whose kitchen you went into, there was a percolator on the stove. And so this, and depending on how long the coffee had been in the percolator, it could have a very pleasant taste, or it could be bitter as all get out. Some of you have a little connection there, I see. From the perspective of science of mind, is we're percolating our passion with purpose and asking what are we giving our attention to, we always go back to first cause. First cause is creative. It expresses itself through us. We are the medium that spirit demonstrates in human form. And so as we create a divine mental mold, the universe responds with an equivalent physical manifestation. And so this, for me, brought us to the point of retreat in the convention. We go back to that which is first cause. And we bring the principles of first cause forward into our lives. Activating our inner sense of joy becomes our purpose. The two are combined to benefit and even contribute to the expression and expansion of the universe. We are a science-based teaching, as our name implies, the science of mind. And there is a direct link in that what we think about, we bring about. And so for me, this was an illustration of renewal. And it's that joy that we have. For some time, we had as our opening song, "This joy that I have, the world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away." So as we renew, we look at this joy that is a part of us as spiritual beings, the very nature of who we are. And as we focus on our passion, the intention that we give to it increases its magnitude. Quantum physics demonstrates that everything is energy, and that we give our observation to it in life. And changes that we experience in the field of quantum physics are known as wave and particle. And that is merely the conversion of energy to matter. And so we're always converting the energy. The spirit is an energy that is within us. We're always converting that energy into matter. And so the invitation is to be mindful of our thoughts, to be mindful of what we are creating as matter. We do have choice in where we direct our attention. And so I ask this question of you, or I invite you to ask this question of yourself, really. Am I choosing just to go along to get along? Am I focusing on a diet of news that is not uplifting and affirming? Am I hanging out on social media and getting my information from those sources without verifying them? Or am I choosing to override life's distractions and listen to the vibrations that are waiting to manifest through me? Remember, we are always at choice. The percolation of our passion begins when we allow our thoughts to build momentum around an idea. We create this mental mold by feeling the sense of what it is that we would like to have as a realized dream. So this is and this is a part of our visioning practice. We tap into that feeling tone. We move that longest road, that longest distance that is described as from the head to the heart. Actually, it's the reverse. Our stimuli starts in the heart and moves to the head. Sometimes at least I'll speak personally on this, and sometimes I find myself so caught up in my head that I'm not always listening or in tune with the stimulations of the heart. But it's this feeling sense that we're invited to tap into and to just feel into what it would be like to have our dream realized. And I'm sure you've heard this example or others that are similar to it. If you're thinking about red cars through the day, what do you see? Red cars. If you're thinking about a particular individual and that individual calls or texts, this demonstrates the power of our thoughts. So be mindful of what it is that we're planting into our consciousness. And here's an idea to percolate with, and ask yourself the following questions. how can this, whatever your this is, how can this get better? How can this expand? How can it grow? How can it just bring more joy and love and passion and light into my life? And that's not saying that we walk around with our head up in the clouds and everything is just la-di-da-da-da, everything is really peachy keen. That is not reality. We are human beings living in a spiritual universe. And so we are called to be aware of what is around us. The other question we might ask, what is a richer, deeper joy I can experience? Once we allow our thoughts and feelings to percolate, they begin to show up in our experience as an inspiration for our purpose. This allows us to blend what we feel strongly about into a specific action, noticing what we're called to be and do. No goal is too great or small. What we may see as a very simple action has a ripple effect out into the world, making a difference in many lives. Abraham Hicks offers this quote, "See the world as a free world, and see everything in it as it is trying through their individual experience to find their way back to that calling, back to that source energy." This is how we connect. This is how we reconnect with our source energy. We see the world as a free world, and we see everyone in it as trying through their individual experiences to find their way back to that calling. You know, we talk about this journey that is called life. I refer to it as an adventure called life. I'm on this grand adventure, and there are experiences in the adventure that prepare me for the next iteration of this experience. And so as I embrace, as I become aware of all that is being offered, I always remember that I am at a choice point to make those decisions and those choices that reconnect me to the source. And so our takeaways this morning, our call to action or spiritual practice is a reminder that meditation, visualization, and gratitude are the cornerstone, the foundation of our spiritual practices. And in gratitude, I invite you to try something just a little bit different. When you are thinking about gratitude, focus on what has not yet been seen. This is continuing to call into you that good, that great, whatever the experience is that you're choosing to have. Generally in gratitude, we give thanks for what already is. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is an excellent place to start. But just expand it a little bit, if you will, and give thanks for what is not yet been seen. And then a practice that I would offer to you is this. Upon waking up, practice mindfulness and gratitude. Notice your early morning thoughts. Feel how wonderful it is to be in your body and to have the shelter of choice. Set the tone for the day by visualizing joy and love. Then feel the energy around that. So again, we're feeling into this vision, this idea that we are creating in mind. And then ask, what am I being called to be and do today? What is the action that I could take today to make that happen or move me closer to my goal? And Dr. Holmes writes this, in this thing called you. You are a spontaneous, self-choosing center of light. In the great drama of being, the great becoming, the certainty of external expansion, we are a conscious, self-choosing center in life. And then Dr. Michael Beckwith offers this. Already within you is everything that is necessary for you to become what you are meant to be, so that as you leave this planet, you do not waste your time on earth living out someone else's agenda or living out a societal agenda, but living the agenda that your soul brought you to the planet for. So we are each here to live out our own agenda. The agenda, I believe, and I don't have any scientific evidence to back this, and there probably is somewhere, but this is what I believe, and you can accept it or not. I believe that when we come into this experience, when the energy condenses and we come into this form, that we come in with an agreement, and that agreement is between ourselves and the Creator. And this life experience is about fulfilling that agreement. And when that agreement is complete, we move on to the next experience. And that is our own personal agreement. And no one can tell us that that agreement is right or wrong, because it is my unique experience and my unique connection with Spirit. And I close with this. Today is my birthday, and a friend sent me a reading from, I believe it's from a Unity publication, but it is for today, August the 13th. And the title of it is, I am an active participant in this exciting life. Excitement. Each new day, the sun rises on a world of wonders. From the magnificence of the neutral world to the many displays of creativity that surround me, I can find so much to capture my interest and kindle my excitement. When I shrink from life, when my interest in exploration wanes, I can lose my zeal and passion. My involvement is the key. To regain my excitement, I become an active participant in life. I break out of comfortable habits and routines, and I try new things and meet new people. If this is intimidating, I remind myself, God is everywhere and in everyone. As I explore, I am opening myself to more and more of the divine. And as my interest grows, a bigger world awaits me. And the scripture reference that is offered with this is from Psalms 150, chapter 150, verse 66. And it merely says, let everything that has breath praise the Lord. This is where we re-enter. We were in that nice bubble, and Reverend Pat Campbell talked about this so eloquently on Friday morning. We've been in this bubble, and we've had all of our needs that have been taken care of. And now we re-enter into this world of effect. And so as we re-enter, we remember that everything and everyone is an expression of God. Let us say our affirmation together for this morning. Our tech team will put it on the screen for us. I will say it, and then I invite you to respond. I am aware of what I give my attention to. Let's say it together. I am aware of what I give my attention to. And let us take in a collective breath, just breathing in the energy of love and joy and beauty and harmony that is all around us. Breathing that back out into the universe. And I invite you to turn within as we recognize that there is only one life. There's only one power, there's only one presence, there's only one highest idea for good that is percolating in and through and as all that there is. This life, this power, this percolation is known by many names as we attempt to describe that which is nameless. This morning, I choose to call it God, the source of my life. And as I acknowledge and become aware of my oneness with this life, my oneness with this conscious being, my oneness with this beloved, my oneness with all that there is, I know that my life has meaning and purpose. And as I affirm this as the truth for myself, I affirm it for all who are gathered here in our center and those who will be watching via the gifts of and the creative expression of technology. Because each one is an individualized representation of spirit, a one-of-a-kind, unrepeatable expression of spirit. And so this morning, I speak my word of gratitude and blessing for our centers, for our spiritual communities, for churches, for mosques, for synagogues, for all places where people are gathering in the name and nature of this one life. Recognizing that along this journey, there may be times when our paths are parallel. We meet those new friends, we renew those acquaintances. And there are times where our lives may intersect. And so there just be a passing glance that says, I see you, I know who you are. And there may be times when our paths are separated by the activities of the world. And yet what I know is that all paths lead back to the source, back to this place that is called home. And so I'm grateful for everyone who is on their own individual journey of awakening, knowing that truth is being revealed right here and right now. I speak my word of blessing this morning for those who are experiencing transitions in our lives as we lift our own Richard Lawson, who is adjusting to life after life with the transition of his daughter Heidi. Knowing that this road is not easy. There's a song that says, nobody told me the road would be easy. But as we surround Richard with our prayers, with our love, with our uplifting thoughts, we can boldly say that this too shall pass. It may never completely fade away, but the initial pain, the initial shock will fade away. And so we lift Richard, and we lift Denise, who is supporting him on this journey, and everyone else who is coming to support our beloved friend and colleague, Richard. I also lift in prayer this morning the people of Hawaii, Maui, and Lahaina, those areas that have been devastated by fires, everything physical, totally lost, and including some lives that were lost as a part of this experience. Knowing that out of this, even though we don't see it in the moment, even out of this, something good must occur. I speak my word of blessing this morning for those who are seeking right livelihood in the area of employment, in the area of housing of choice, in all other areas of their lives. I know that the universe is responding to those requests that remain in the recesses of our heart, and is continually saying yes and amen. And so for this and so much more, I give thanks. Releasing this word back into that law, which is propelled into action by love, and only says yes. I just allow it to be. And I invite you to affirm this with me as we say together, and so it is, and so it is. And now this is a part in our service where we get to practice the law of circulation. This is our offering time. I believe there may be some envelopes in the seat pockets in front of you if you would like to use an envelope. We have a donation basket that is on the glass table here in our center. And also acknowledge those who choose to contribute by mail, with the text to give, and also to our center. And let us say now our affirmation of abundance. I recognize the presence of God within as the source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And so it is. And so thank you to those who support us. You may mail in your contributions to our center. The address is on the screen. You may text to give, and that number is there. And you may also contribute via our website, montereycsl.org. And when you go onto the website, if you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, I invite you to click on the subscribe button so that you can be informed of what is happening here in the life of the Monterey Center. Just a couple of things to alert you to. Today is my birthday, and I'm very grateful to witness the beginning of the decade of my 80s. And then we have our visioning for our spiritual community on Saturday via Zoom and on Sunday in person. And then we have Soul Collage next Sunday from 12 to 2. And we also have